everybody. My name is Miss Tess. Welcome to the Half Hollow Hills Community Library. I'm a children's librarian here. Thank you for joining me today. This is Catch the Gingerbread Man. Here's a preview of the book I'm going to read. And in the newsletter, we mentioned the materials needed, and they're listed on the events calendar at hhlibrary.org. But I thought I'd just also show it to you right here. This is the list of materials. At the end of the reading, I will be showing you how to make gingerbread Play-Doh. This is Play-Doh, as I said, it's not for eating. So the directions, the measurements don't have to be completely accurate, because one of the measurements calls for a half a tablespoon of ground cinnamon, a half a tablespoon of ground ginger. You can approximate on that. You just want it to come together. That's really just for the flavoring and the color, the scent. So don't stress out about that. Okay, so the Gingerbread Man. This is a folktale retelling by, this is retold by Barbara McClintock. This is illustrated by Barbara McClintock, excuse me. It's retold by Jim Ellsworth. And folk tales, just for knowledge, are often retold by other authors, and it's interesting to compare them to one another and pick the ones that you like best. Okay, stay tuned. The Gingerbread Man, retold by Jim Ellsworth, illustrated by Barbara McClintock. And there's our little gingerbread man. Once upon a time, there was a little old man and a little old woman. One day, the little old woman said, "Let's make a gingerbread man." "Yes, let's do," said the little old man. And they did. So they mixed up the batter, and they rolled out the dough. And they shaped little arms, and they shaped little legs, and they shaped a little head, the little head. And with raisins, they made the little eyes, and the little nose, and the little mouth. And then with the sugar glaze, they dressed him in a fancy suit of clothes. When all was set, they put the gingerbread man into the oven, and they waited. Pretty soon, a delicious smell coming from the oven told them that the gingerbread man was ready, and so were they. But when they opened the oven door, out popped the gingerbread man, and he ran across the floor. The little old man and the little old woman could hardly believe their eyes. The gingerbread man looked up at them, put his little hands on his hips, and said, "Run, run, run, fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." The little old man reached down to grab him, but quick as a wink, the gingerbread man ran out the door and down the road, and the little old man and the little old woman ran after him. Come back, they yelled. But the gingerbread man just looked over his shoulders and said, No, I won't come back. I'd rather run than be your snack." And he kept on running. And he ran, and he ran, and he ran. And after a time, he met a butcher standing in front of his shop. The gingerbread man looked up at him, put his little hands on his hips, and said, "Run, run, run, fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. I've run from a husband. I've run from a wife. And I'll run from you too. I can. The gingerbread man reached down to grab him. The butcher reached down to grab him. But quick as a wink, the gingerbread man ran on down the road, and the butcher ran after him. "Come back," yelled the butcher. And not far behind, the little old man and the little old woman were yelling too, "Come back, come back." But the gingerbread man just looked over his shoulder and said, No, no, I won't come back. I'd rather run than be your snack. And he kept on running. And he ran, and he ran, and he ran. After a time, he met a black and white cow. The gingerbread man looked up at her, put his little hands on his hips, and said, Run, 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 fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. I've run from a husband. I've run from a wife. I've run from a butcher with a carving knife. And I'll run from you, too. I can, I can. The black and white cow reached out to grab him. But quick as a wink, the gingerbread man ran on down the road, and the black and white cow ran after him. Come back, yelled the black and white cow. And not far behind, the little old man, the little old woman, and the butcher with the knife were yelling too. Come back, come back, come back. But the gingerbread man just looked over his shoulder and said, No, no, I won't come back. I'd rather run than be your snack. And he kept on running, and he ran, and he ran, and he ran. After a time, he met a muddy old sow, which is a pig. See the snout and the ears? Okay. The gingerbread man looked up at her, put his little hands on his hips, and said, Run, run, fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. I've run from a husband. I've run from a wife. I've run from a butcher with a carving knife. I've run from a cow, all black and white. And I'll run from you. I can, I can. The messy old sow reached out to grab him. But quick as a wink, the gingerbread man ran on down the road, and the muddy old sow ran after him. Come back, yelled the muddy old sow. And not far behind, the little old man, the little old woman, and the butcher with the knife, and the black and white cow were yelling too. Come back, come back, come back, come back. But the gingerbread man just looked over his shoulder and said, No, no, I won't come back. I'd rather run than be your snack. And he kept on running. And he ran, and he ran, and he ran. And after a time he met a fox. The gingerbread man looked up at him, put his little hands on his hips, and said, Run, run, fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. I've run from a husband. I've run from a wife. I've run from a butcher with a carving knife. I've run from a cow and a muddy old sow. And I'll run from you. I can, I can. And here's our fox, who's quite clever and reading a book. And foxes are known to be clever and smart. So keep an eye on Mr. Fox. What did you say? Asked the fox. The tricky fox pretended that he couldn't hear well. I'm not as young as I used to be, he said. You'll have to come closer and speak louder. The gingerbread man stepped closer, and in a very loud voice he said, Run, run, fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. I've run from a husband. I've run from a wife. I've run from a butcher with a carving knife. I've run from a cow and a muddy old sow. And I'll run from you too. I can, I can. Just then, the little old man, the little old woman, and the butcher with the knife, and the black and white cow, and the muddy old sow came running around a turn in the road, and they were yelling, Come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. The gingerbread man looked over his shoulder, but just before he could say a single word, the fox jumped up and grabbed him. And quick as a wink, before he could think, with a snap and a snick and a lap and a lick, the gingerbread man was gone. The gingerbread man was eaten by the fox. The fox ate him because he's a cookie. Don't forget, he was baked in the oven. The little old man and the little old woman and the butcher with the knife and the black and white cow and the muddy old sow all stood and stared sadly at the fox. They're mad at him. He hadn't left a single crumb for anyone. Oh dear, and he didn't even share? Riddle, riddle, fan, riddle, fiddle, fiddle, fan. So ends the tale of the gingerbread man. And that's the end of the gingerbread man. This particular copy also has a different recipe. This is, for baking and eating, which if you like. And gingerbread does have a strong flavor. So not everyone likes it, but I hope you enjoy making it. You'll have fun playing with it. So stay tuned, and I will show you how to do that. Bye. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Catch the Gingerbread Man. As a reminder, you can find this recipe listed on the events calendar at hhlibrary.org. So I am going to walk you through how to make and demonstrate how to make a gingerbread man out of the dough. We're going to make the dough actually. And just as a reminder, we're not eating this dough, so measurements don't need to be 100% accurate. Of course, we always want to be clean, but again, that's not something else we have to think about. And you're going to be working this dough. This is really great for developing your child's muscles in their hands and forearms, for fine motor skills, for the larger muscle groups, for throwing and all the other kind of activities, tying shoelaces with the fingers. So that's why we like to work with Play-Doh. And it's a lot of fun. You can have fun retelling the story. You will smell the ginger and cinnamon, work with the flour. You're learning to work with different textures, a little bit of math and science here with the measuring and the mixing. And so I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so first thing we need is 1 cup of flour. So comes my flour. Gonna work right on my counter space here, which is really the best way to mix flour into a little thing like this. I'm making a little well with my fingers, just like a little circle like this. Definitely gonna be a little mess at home, so you will be cleaning this up as you go along. As best you can. Next, we're asking for is a 1/2 cup of salt. So, got my 1/2 cup measure. Here's my salt. Any kind of salt is fine. Probably with the exception of kosher salt. I think the grains are going to be too high on that. So I'm just going to go with some plain old iodized table salt. Okay, all right. So salt, adding that. So I'm doing my dry ingredients first. Next on my list is ginger. So let's see what ginger looks like. So here's ginger. It's a little pungent. Smells. Has an interesting smell. All right, so you're gonna get to experience that. And I'm just leveling it off like this. I'm not using a knife. Like I said, this will be close enough. And again, we're working with children, so we're working to their ability, and they're gonna help you do it. So there's my ginger, and you'll notice it's got an interesting smell. So let's experience that. And here comes the cinnamon, which probably you're more familiar with. Okay, cinnamon. We like to put that on our oatmeal. I like to put that on my oatmeal. Oh gosh, so many interesting ways to use cinnamon. Darker in color than ginger, not as powerful. Ginger is definitely a more strong flavor, so lots of times you want to mix it with other items as well. Okay, so I've got some more dry. Oh, now I need some vegetable oil. So I've got some vegetable oil. Anything got around the house? It's just an ordinary type. Get my 1 tablespoon. Okay. Canola oil would be fine. Corn oil, whatever your usual oil is to use. It's a very forgiving recipe. Okay, now it's gonna run a little, so here we go. We gotta start working that in, and that's why that well was really important to make, to contain everything. Okay, and then we are gonna clean up at the end. So let me try and just, yeah, see that? Because it was starting to run out a little bit, almost like a A little bit of a volcano. So, and then we needed a half a cup of water. So a half cup of water is 4 ounces. So I have a paper cup, which measures 3 ounces. So I'm going to start with this. Now you're going to pour it in a little bit at a time. And also we are going to add another ounce to it as needed. And as I said, we're just eyeballing this. But you will work it, and I will show you what it looks like when it's all mixed. So here comes a little bit of water. And you just mush it. You mush it. And the more you work it, you will mix the ingredients together. You will notice it will start to change in color. Right? The flour was white. The salt was white. It's got those brown ingredients. Are all going to come together. And my prediction is that it will be a brownish color, because I know what gingerbread looks like. And I also remember from the book, if you remember in the book, we looked at the Gingerbread Man, right? And he was brown when he came out of the oven. And you can go back and look at that story and see what I'm saying. Let's give it a little more water, a little bit at a time. Here we go. It's starting to come together. I'm feeling it. Move it forward a little like this. This really does work well on a countertop or like a lower table like I'm using, because you have the upper body strength to push. Okay. Over here it's getting a little browner. I'm starting to smell it. Let's give it a little more water. Still got that well. Definitely takes a while. So I would maybe say 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And remember I said that we're going to need that 1 extra ounce, so let's go back for some more water. A little bit more. And another thing to keep in mind when working with flour and you're making any kind of dough is can be affected by the conditions, conditions of the weather of the day, the temperature in your house. Little things can affect it like that, which again becomes more important in the baking of itself, but it really probably will not affect the Play-Doh. But just a little side note to know, because the next step from this, if you wanted, would be to make a recipe that you could actually bake. So we're, again, teaching the kids we're learning in baby steps. Some people like to enjoy baking or introduce baking to children. See, now by adding all that water over about a 10-minute period of time, now I've got a ball. So now got some more here. If you happen to have a dough scraper at home, you can use it. You can use your fingers. You can use a dull knife. You can use, because we want to just not try and waste any of the product. So I'm going to try and put this down once more. Get the rest of that in. Get a little more water. I still have a little bit more water. And then we can assess when we get all of the water incorporated what this still needs. It's a little sticky. Feeling like it's a little sticky. Okay, so I'm going to add a little more flour. Just going to grab a little handful of here, a little bit at a time. So let me show you what this. Okay, because now we don't want it sticking to the table or your counter or your cutting board, your bowl, whatever you're using. It's basically just you're working out a balance between elasticity and workability. But if you can do this, you can make it into a bowl like Play-Doh, like and have played with before, you will have achieved what needs to be done. So now, here it is. So that was about 10 minutes. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So now I'm ready. If I wanted to do something with it, I can just use my palm and I can flatten it out like this. I can have fun rolling it up like this. If you have cookie cutters, you can use cookie cutters, but here's still a little flour right here. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to, so now I can move it around. I can clean this up a little. It's all good. You got your nice ball. What I would do from this point is to keep it, wrap it in some plastic wrap, or to store it, or some waxed paper. Leave it on your counter. Leave it out if you want it soft like this, if you're planning to use it, and then refrigerate it. And it will probably last you about 2 weeks, give or take. And here's this fun thing. So I hope you enjoyed making gingerbread dough, and I hope you enjoyed listening to Catch a Gingerbread Man, and I hope to see you soon. Bye now.